In this video, I'll be sharing the full process of making a ceramic honey pot, from throwing it on the wheel, sculpting, carving, glazing, and the final results. It all begins with a ball of clay on a potter's wheel. It amazes me how many different shapes and forms can be created on a spinning wheel. The idea of making a honey pot was very exciting to me, and I find that pieces I'm most excited about tend to turn out best. Throwing a two-piece form is a fun challenge in itself. This is the smallest jar I made in this series. It's thrown from a 1-pound ball of clay, and I wanted to create a nice round shape with a small flange on the jar lid for the lid to sit into. I measured the diameter with a caliper tool and set the tool aside for measuring the lid size. Once trimmed and cut off the wheel, I throw the lid for the jar. By adding a lip or a flange on the lid, it will help the lid be more secure and fitted. Measuring with the caliper tool and trimming the edge in preparation for fitting to the jar. Once trimmed and cut off the wheel, I'll set it aside to dry. Once the pots have set up, I trim a foot on the bottom of the jar. Even with a slight wobble, it'll be fine. I like to add a spiral detail to the bottom and smooth out the edge with my finger. When trimming the lid, I'm keeping in mind the type of knob I want to add. With this lid, I left enough clay to trim a knob from the lid. I'm creating guidelines to add detailed patterns to. I decorated the lid with a mandala pattern by creating impressions spaced out evenly around the knob and continuing the pattern outward from the initial design. I carved a peony-inspired flower onto the knob . And added little bits of clay to build up the petals. I created a mandala on the side of the pot in a very similar way that I did on the lid, and hand sculpting a honeybee to place in the center. I connect the little balls of clay with some slip and smooth them out and sculpt the shape directly onto the jar. Carving in the details of the wings and the stripes. I find this tiny brush with firm bristles to be a great tool to add the fuzzy look of a honeybee. I continued with the Peony-Inspired motif by creating a circle that serves as a guideline to carve the flower. I'm using a small loop tool to carve out the design. Peonies are a great flower to draw. The petals are very organic and have a flowing nature to them. There's a lot of room for creative freedom when drawing them. Once my design is complete, I cut out the opening for the lid for the wooden honey dipper to sit into. I had to keep in mind the clay shrinkage when cutting the hole so that the honey dipper will fit in there snugly and at a good angle so that the ants can't crawl into the jar. I made many different versions and sizes in this small series and experimented with a variety of shapes. Once they were bone dry, I put them in the kiln to be bisque fired. I fired my bisque to cone 04. I do a slow bisque firing to ensure that any moisture that is left can escape. The firing takes 12 hours to reach temperature and 12 hours to cool. I unload everything and move to my glazing area. I begin glazing the same way every time by starting with iron oxide. The oxide accentuates the carvings by adding shading, depth, and color to the raw clay body. I often put iron oxide on places that won't be glazed. With a thick paintbrush, I paint the oxide onto each piece, and once it's painted on, I wipe it off with a sponge, leaving the oxide in the recesses of the design. I apply the glazes with a variety of tools. I like using the glaze applicator bottles to get the glazes into small areas with precision, and also using a paintbrush to apply the glazes to larger areas. I'm using an ochre Celadon to accentuate the flower designs, and as the inside glaze. This glaze reacts beautifully with the antique green glaze that I frequently use. The ochre has a beautiful golden color like honey. I'm sponging off the extra glaze so that the glaze only pools in the design. In this instance, I hand painted the antique green glaze onto the outside. I painted on 2 to 3 coats and fired them. Here are the results. Another little honey jar. Well, the design on that got lost too, which is not my favorite, but it's still beautiful. This is great. Nice honey jar. Like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thank you for watching.